The profession that you're in, especially early on, people are making judgments about you, whether to hire you for this. They're commenting on your looks. They form judgments about you. A lot of it is not in your control. And I think for a lot of people in their life, they feel like things are not in as much in their control as they would like it to be. Did meditation help you feel more in control of things?
I think more than anything, it allowed me to have this different kind of understanding and in a way acceptance for what is. Because I think anytime there is no acceptance for what is, whenever there is resistance, there is pain. Because we can't control, I always say in my prayers or when I'm talking to, my guardian angel, however you want to call your higher self, I always ask, show me the way, guide me, and whatever happens, help me be for my highest and best. And I have to trust that. And sometimes the highest and best might be not the thing that my mind has decided that that's the way it needs to go. Because I think our mind has a tendency, we have a lot of conditioning that comes from our family, comes from religion, comes from society, so we live in this box and it has to look a certain way because we've been taught that way. Like if he's out of this box, doesn't feel safe, he doesn't. But the universe, there's a higher intelligence, I believe, that knows better than we do. And I think if we can trust that higher intelligence and saying things are happening for me, not to me, things are happening for my growth, for my, evolution. I think when there is an acceptance, there is no pain because you trust, there is trust. And you say, okay, this is coming up, however the challenge it is, it can be challenging, it could be, sometimes it's very intense. And you have to, I think that when there is that acceptance, there is, you kind of trust that that things are happening for you.
Has it made you a better parent, do you think?
I think so. I think it's made me a better person. You know what I mean? I think I don't try to be so. I think before I used to be a person who was very I need to have things under control, and I think that's part of my panic attacks. I didn't have control over a lot of things. And I feel like that also brought a lot of anxiety. Because I didn't know the future, I didn't know what I was going to do, I didn't know tomorrow, and I think all of that became things that kind of created the anxiety, kind of made it more. And I think once I trusted in a way, once I kind of allow it to just be whatever it was going to be and just say thank you and just make the best out of whatever situation there might be, then my life became a lot better. And I think even with my children, it's I'm not trying, they are perfect little beings. I feel like my job as their mom is just to be their guardian.
How old are they?
I have a bonus child who's 11. I have an 80-year-old and a 5-year-old. So 2 boys and a girl. And they're wonderful. And they're so different. They couldn't be more different in personalities. They're incredible. And they teach me every day. And, and with each one of them, I'm always it's like a dance. Because each of them have different needs. They all have different, if you talk with one of them, it doesn't work necessarily the way you would talk with my daughter, that you would talk with my son, or, they all have different ways they operate differently. And it's beautiful to witness them and to watch them and to expand. They allow me to expand and grow in ways that I never thought.
Is meditation, some people try to get their kids to meditate. Is that something
Benny actually, he's all of them actually. This is a funny story, because I meditate, usually when I'm in Costa Rica, I love to meditate outside. I like to sit on the grass just because I just love nature so much. I feel like nature carries a very high vibration, and anytime I'm around nature, I already feel like my energy is I feel uplifted, I feel like I'm being healed somehow. And Benny's very connected to that as well. So anytime I'm sitting outside, he just come and I'm in my position, I'm just sitting there. He just comes and sits with me and just stays there with me. That's just he loves doing that. It's just natural for him. My little one, she's 5 years old. She's a firecracker. So she's sitting her down is a little bit, sitting a 5-year-old down. She's it's not really her thing yet. But for Benny, it's really a natural thing for him. And Jack has also actually gave him a little pillow, and I said, if you feel like there is too much, you can go to any space in the house and just sit here, and this is your space, and everyone knows that if you're here, is your space, and no one is going to bother you. Because sometimes kids can get each other's nerves, it's
Do you plan very far? Before you were out here, I was talking to Storm, and it was saying that for me, I'm sort of trying to think of what my second act is, I'm 51 now, and I sort of feel like I've been in this big rush, and now I feel like I need to figure out some sort of new chapter. Do you feel like you know what the next chapter is?
It definitely has to do with, I mean, I think know thyself is the most important thing for me. You know, I've been in this quest since I was very young, since I left home at 14 years old. And I feel like now I'm getting to understand myself better. So I think that's always for me like a constant work that happens all the time. But I definitely feel like I'm in a different chapter of my life, because I feel like when I started working at 14 years old and I was out in the world, I felt like I needed to be a pleaser. You know, I needed to first I wanted to please my parents because I wanted to be the good girl. I have 5 sisters. I'm a middle child and a twin, you know. Never feel very much special at all, you know, kind of like you're the middle, whatever. And I think that at this point in my life, I just want to be, I think before I was like the doors were opening for me and I was just kind of taking the opportunities and doing the best I could and being really very much a pleaser. And I think now I don't really, it's more about like living my truth. It's about like discovering like what are the things that really like speak with my heart? What are the things that I feel inspired by that bring joy to my everyday experience? Because you know life is not about the destination, it's about the journey, but the journey is happening every day with every choice you make. Because it's not guaranteed that we're gonna be here tomorrow, and I wanna live like I feel like I wanna live to the fullest every moment. So I think the next chapter like is much more of that every day. Is like, you know, am I living my truth? Am I doing what makes me happy?